an example of, developing the storylines and the formats. Where the elements, whether when you went to get it commissioned at Channel 5, was it pretty clear from the off that this was going to be the level of makeover that it became, the door stopping, the going after the bad practice cowboy builder? Was the format nailed, or did it? How much did the storyline, the narrative development, and the elements of the format develop as you went?
I think on this show, actually, if you look at the original document that we sold it to Channel 5 with, I think obviously it doesn't have the detail of the structure, the way that we edited this and wove the two stories together. But I think it's fairly descriptive of the show that we made. And I think, because in its essence, what Cowboy Builders was here's one type of show that's already on TV, a consumer show like Watchdog. Here's another type of show that's already on TV, a makeover show like DIY SOS. Can you just stick the two of them together? And that's really what we did. So if you look at an episode, it is like you could probably take those two shows in an edit suite and sort of make Cowboy Builders out of them. So I think that sort of simple premise of this sort of fusion of two existing types of show educated everything else, and I think we probably got that from the outset. I think the stuff that we learnt developing it and making the early shows was more about how to get the best reactions out of people. I think we probably didn't know when before we started making it, that this was going to be a really emotional programme. So I think that really came to the fore, because I think we didn't know how severe the stories we were going to find were. So I think quite quickly we were making much more extreme shows than perhaps was pitched, because I think we were probably trying to be pragmatic when it was pitched. But actually, those early recce's, you'd come back and it was people who'd been living for a year, sometimes longer, in basically camping out in their own home, sometimes with a hole in their roof, no heating, and there was always, they just seemed to fall into our laps, actually, these sort of really sort of emotional stories about that my son is disabled and we've got no roof, I'm heavily pregnant and I have to sleep in the locked door of one room because my house is open to the elements and there are foxes coming in. People that had sunk all of their savings and lost it. All these extremities, I think, weren't there in the original treatment. I think the fact that when we started casting, we found them is a big clue as to why the series did so well and stayed around for a long time. So that we learnt.
Does that say quite a lot about importance of story, importance of really strong story for telly?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as producers, we spend a huge amount of time thinking that we can produce anything to be brilliant and dramatic, when the truth is that actually casting is everything. If we're making factual programs, aren't we? So we are reflecting the facts back. So if the facts are amazing, it's an amazing show. A good format allows you to tell stories well and dramatically, or sometimes efficiently. But if the story isn't there, to be honest, it's never going to be the best show. Actually, this is another thing to say about formats, because actually maybe a format does slightly cushion that. So a good format might prop up weaker stories, but ultimately the really dramatic stories are the ones that are dramatic when they fell into your lap.